Yeah, good afternoon. It's another sunny day in the fig greenhouse, and today we're going to look at some more fig tree varieties. Kind of see how they compare and how their fruit's coming along, and talk about what we may or may not like about the trees. So just hang on there, and we're gonna get right into this and start looking at some trees. This next tree we're looking at here is Super Jumbo DK, and have a look at these figs. Look how progressed this thing is right here. Can you see that fig right there? Oh, look at that. But they're still. Look at the figs. Super Jumbo DK. This is a good sized fig. Five of them can make a pound, no problem. You might get lucky on the right day and 4 of them will make a pound. These are big figs. They got a strawberry watermelon flavor to them. From dieback, it still fruits like this from dieback. This tree does. So that's a real bonus if you got a long enough season. That they are a little bit, seem to be on the later side. But my thought is if you're not dying back, that eventually they'll get a little bit earlier in here. I mean, if I just get a couple weeks out of it, then I'll pretty much get 90% of my crop off here. Last year from dieback, I think it got 45% of its crop ripened before it got too cold, which is that's not hardly good enough, commercially speaking. I don't think you want to get your whole crop. You don't want to throw half your crop away. But that was from dieback. This is not from dieback, and I'm sure we can go back and look at last year's videos, and we was nowhere near having figs by now. These things are going to pick super early. We get a lot. I keep this thing in the 90s. It's in the 90s every day. From the time we wake up, if we can get in the 90s, it's in the 90s. Getting these growing heat hours in seems to help. These trees, none of the trees you're looking at, I've really done any thinning on yet. I'm getting ready to come through and do thinning on these and see if I need to stake anything. But this thing ain't staked. This is just the way I trimmed it. And I mean, you can see the oodles of fruit set on this Super Jumbo DK. I'd say if you was in Texas, this might be ideal. I didn't have really too bad a problem with it splitting. Texas, you know, if you're down there in an 8B climate where we're a 7A here, that you're going to have at least a 30-day longer growing season. Not to mention it's a lot milder. And I'm going to work on some more techniques for getting people's trees dormant quicker. I think this might be a real ideal fig for growing production in Texas, maybe. If somebody was looking for something that would produce a lot of poundage, you'd be able to put it outside. Now, you know, if you get a monsoon rain, figs don't like rain. We all know that. They'll all split. But in the greenhouse, just watering, I had no problem with humidity or even how I kept the soil damp at all with it. So This might be one you want to try out. It's got a lot of figs on it. Super Jumbo DK. Alright, we're in the fig greenhouse. We're looking at some more trees. And the one you're looking at right here is one of my favorites. This is Super Red Hybrid. and it fruited last year from dieback. But I want you to see this year where it's at this point. And you can see it just has our main low cordon branch here. Going back down here. Here's the end of her. Here's the end of our tree right here. We'll move this called a dom out of our way. We'll talk about it later, but we got some nice figs going here. This probably, the figs on here ain't as far along as Super Jumbo DK, but they are. It's aggressively growing some figs. Kind of a. This one here also has that strawberry watermelon. This one here is way juicier. I think this one probably, of these 4 varieties that are kind of similar, this one seems to ripen the best here for us. And when I say the 4 varieties, I'm talking about this is Super Red Hybrid, Super Jumbo DK, Brazilian XP, and Red Shrim, which we're going to look at those other 2 here in a minute. This tree here is Red Shrim. And you can see it's got good sized figs on it already. Right here's the end of it. It really wanted to grow on the ground. I didn't have to try to train it low cordon. I mean, it wanted to get down there and do it. And it kind of likes to grow up and grow out horizontal branches and fruit on them. Seems to prefer to grow on fruit mostly on horizontal branches, but you see it's got figs all over it. Now this lower branch down here, it hasn't done as well as I thought it would. Here's the bottom of it down here, as you can see. Just kind of growing, but it hasn't. I think these do better when they're up off the ground. I don't think they grow as well on the ground like this. I think the ground keeps them too cold. So I'm going to change the way this tree is and get that up off the ground. I just wanted to see how it would respond, see if there was a difference. And you can clearly see that the growth is a lot different just because the air temperature, it's always going to be warmer a foot or 2 off the ground than it is right at the ground level this time of year. That ground, and it's just like laying on the ground. My hope was that it would that bottom branch would root in the ground and I could have a bunch of individual trees just standing up here I could pick and cut back each year while the main thing was in the ground. I don't know, maybe I should wait and see what it does. You know what? Leave something in the comments and tell me what you think about this thing. It's all an experiment. But as you can see, Red Shrim does have quite a bit of this. All this taller branches have good fruit set on it. And I think these others down here will set fruit just a little later. Well, you can see this one here. It's the tallest, biggest one of all these. And it's got double bumps. It's, you know, there's fig. There's fig. They're coming. It's just a little slower down here because it's so close to the ground. That's all. So it's something good to know. You're definitely better off to have your tree up off the ground. Sometimes you start talking about one thing and, you know, you can point out a lot of things that's wrong with a tree or you might think you would change. So, hey, these are all just hidden gems. We may be talking about each individual variety today, but there's definitely a lot of extra information in here. Red Shrim. Alright, here's the next tree in line. This is Brazilian XP. And now you'll notice it is more up off the ground. It ain't. I didn't let it grow on the ground, even though it's fairly low. You see that branch over there is fairly low. I'm just holding these up. where you can kind of see up under there. But look at the branches up under there. Everybody wants to holler about sunlight. Sunlight. Oh, you got to have sunlight to get your tree to fruit. Is that true? Well, look. Look where these figs are at. Under here. Now, we're going to let it down and back it out. How much sunlight are we getting here? I mean, it's shaded over half the day. It's in the shade. How much sunlight does a tree need to fruit? I think a lot of people miss the wagon that the heat units are as equally as important to make that sunlight go somewhere. You know, if you got a bunch of sunlight and it's 55, 60 degrees, it just takes so long to get to those growing heat days. I've heard a lot of people, you know, in the Northwest, you'll hear them talk about, said, well, we'll have fruit set way earlier than you do, but it don't get hot up here in the summertime, and your figs still ripen before ours. That's because it's 90 degrees here. So here I go again, repeating myself. It's very, very important when you wake these trees up to get them up to the 90s and keep them above. Really, you should keep them above 50. But if you can't, you have to keep them above 40. All these trees was just kept above 40 degrees from March till the 1st of May. I didn't let them get below 40. If it was going to be cold, we had some 20, 21, 22 degree nights. They were leafed out, but still had the box sides up. And with them box sides up, you know, these boxes are only 4 foot wide. How much light can it let in? Got a lot of overhead light, but direct light. But what you had was a lot of heat. We had a lot, every day it was in the 90s in here. Every day. And look at the fruit. It's coming. Look at this little thing down here. Now them little scraggly things won't have fruit on it, but look. I mean, you can clearly see it's got little figs on it. Because that's what them are. You need an equal, you need a certain amount of sunlight. You need a whole lot of heat. And you need ample food and moisture. But this is Brazilian XP. Now, we've looked at Brazilian XP and how it's doing today. And we've looked at a couple others we're going to put here together. I hope you can see some differences. Well, I hope you liked the video and enjoyed what we're trying to bring today. Show these individual varieties for everybody to see. We'll try to get some more out as we can. Thanks for stopping by.